there, Site 42 staff. Alex, SCP-420-J. Onyx, good to see you all. Thank you for being in the chat and for being members. Cerberus, if you're in the middle of testing, what are you testing? And maybe you should be focused on the thing you're testing and not the office hours. Jojo Jargon, you actually read 8980. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Great article. Very hard to read, but good if you can get through it. Silent Follower, good to see you in the chat. Thank you for being a member. Hello, Dreaming Flower. Memester Edits, you may not borrow 096, but thank you for asking. Dark Red, I did in fact celebrate Mother's Day yesterday, but it was a long-distance version affair, you know, being a SCP Foundation researcher, and my mother is a civilian, so you've got to celebrate in your own very separated ways, unfortunately. But this is what we do here in the Foundation to secure, contain, and protect for those who live on the outside. If SCP-343 knows what 055 is, it isn't telling us. Origami, good to see you in the chat. Thank you for being a member. Dr. Sherman, let me out of containment. No. Am I seeing this right? My man is trying to get overheated with 3 layers of clothing. No, I've got the climate control set in the site, and this is a lightweight cotton undershirt. This is a very lightweight pattern shirt, and then the lab coat for protection from the anomalies that may be interfering with this particular office hours. King of ADHD, one of the brakes on my car that I just had replaced started smoking, so I had to take it back again. It seems like your mechanic did a shoddy job with the repair. And also, don't let Dr. Gerald drive your car and you won't have brake issues in the first place. History Quine. Good evening, Dr. Sherman. Dr. Brown here in Scotland at Site 1136. It must be... I don't know how far the UK area is from the West Coast when it comes to hours of time difficulty. I don't know if it's dark there. Must be working late, I guess. Also, I had to stop myself because I went to say time in the UK, but then I realized Scotland, not the UK in the same way. So I said UK area. I tried to correct myself. I apologize. Carson, good to see you in the chat. Thank you for being the first donation of today's stream, as well as being a member. Make sure to grab yourself an avocado toast on your way past the commissary. My fieldwork is completely mind-numbing. There's not an SCP here, it's just people who can't read a card reader. Get me out of here, Dr. Sherman. Well, listen. Sometimes we pull the short straw and we get the boring security detail. Honestly, don't wish to live in interesting times. It would be much more fun for you to survive than go get a more interesting gig that leads to a containment breach. So enjoy the relaxation. What do you think are the rules for Foundation breaks? Do they have a break room? What are schedules for security personnel? So obviously, any job you work, you're going to need to do a proper break schedule because a tired security guard is a less productive security guard. That leads to containment breaches, so we have to have a good break schedule. Couple hours on, take a break. Couple hours on, take a break. We have rotating shifts. Everyone has to go in and out. That way they can make sure we are at tip-top efficiency. And in fact, you should not really be in this office hours if you're working a shift, because this is, office hours. This is what you do in your downtime when you need to learn more about the Foundation. So make sure you're not shirking your duties by being here. Maze Edits. Thank you for subscribing to Site 42. Congratulations and welcome to staff. Site 44, good to see you in the chat. Thank you for being a member. Hello, hello. Who was it who just needed some coffee? Yes, Onyx, make sure to stay caffeinated. It's the only way most of us survive here at the Foundation. Is there an SCP that can out Pizza the Hut? Well, Carson, thank you for donating again, and I would assume that SCP-458 could easily do that since it is an infinite pizza box. I do not think that SCP-458 could lose to any pizza chain, let alone Pizza Hut. Sylvia, for the X is not an SCP series, would you ever cover an unfiction project like the Were Dino Gargoyles from Hollow Birds? The Were Dino Gargoyles. That's a lot of hyphens in that name. So I am not against doing an unfiction project. I would need to just recognize and read it, know about it to do the research. And so yes, especially if there was a popular one that kept getting suggested, well then it would have to work its way to the top of my docket, wouldn't it? To the top of my docket, wouldn't it? Jonathan, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a glass of chocolate milk on your way past the commissary. Doctor, I found some weird shadowy thing and it hurts my brain to look at it. It's calling itself Umbrus. I am unfamiliar with this kind of entity or this iteration of entity. Let me pull up a quick database search, see if I find anything useful. Umbrus. So it's a planet in the Solana Galaxy. It is a nightmare or horror. Okay. Well, that makes sense from the Latin for the prefix, similar to the dark type Eevee evolution Umbreon. That fits. My first suggestion to you is to get to a light source to protect yourself. Think Alan Wake rules. Foxpax, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a shepherd's pie on your way past the commissary. Hey, Dr. Sherman, I got a slight issue. Whoever blew up the Playtime Co. factory appears to have used some sort of biochemical weapon as well, but it appears to only target the toys. But what does it do to the toys? Does it neutralize them? That would be frustrating because we can't do research. Does it cause them to become highly aggressive? That would be frustrating for security forces. Keep observing. See what happens to them. Greg, thank you for your first donation to Site 42 stream today. Make sure to grab yourself a plate of corned beef hash on your way past the commissary. Site 42 aesthetics here. Just wanted to poke in and ask if you guys could stop putting redacted down the drain. We had to anesthetize everyone here twice in the last 2 hours. Is it aesthetics or is it amnestics? Because aesthetics would not worry about putting stuff down the drain. That would be a plumbing problem, really. But if you're amnesticizing people, I wonder what's going down the drain that you're having to... This is a rather confusing order, but I believe things should not be put down the drain, especially if they have to be redacted in the first place. So perhaps we can just take your word for it. Foxpax, thank you for donating again. The ones exposed seem to die from cardiac arrest. Well, let's keep them away then. Make sure that we can study them. We can't study them if they expire. So let's keep them alive, please. Terragal, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some mead on your way past the commissary. I successfully defeated 6564, and after a number of fights, it seemed to have turned into a skeleton version of me. I assume you saw the recording. Ah, yes. So you have, I guess you've jumped up to a level where it's turned into a Dark Link-style battle against yourself. Not bad. Keep at it. If you can beat that, we need to see what's after that. There's always another bigger fish with 6564. So after your trip to the commissary, get back in there and fight that baby. Let me out. This 3-meter thick tungsten prison you put me in is so cramped. Well, you should have behaved yourself before we had to throw you in the 3-meter thick tungsten prison. So, you made us waste a lot of resources. That's on you. What type of Foundation facility do you work in, Dr. Sherman? A site, an area, or outpost? Armed, biological, exclusionary, or reliquary? So, Jojo Jargon, I want you to look at the name of the channel, if you can. And the name of the channel is, in fact, where we work. We work at Site 42. We are a archival and transport facility. So we have our archives. We keep different formats of archives, kind of like a mega archival dump space. That way, in case anything happens, we have backups for our backups for our backups. On top of which we are a transfer site. And so anomalies very often come through here while being shipped to other places. And as such, we have a lot more experience with a lot more anomalies than most sites do. Oh, let me real quick arm that. Deadass, this guy looks like my band director with brighter hair. Well, your band director must be exceptionally handsome. Happy for him. Ansan, good to see you in the chat. Thank you for being a member. Wolfpack, Dr. Sherman, what SCP are you most afraid of and why? I would claim that to be 2718. 2718 gives me the heebie-jeebies. Of course, you must have the proper security clearance to go check that out. So make sure you get promoted to a level where you can investigate said anomaly. Because 278 or 2718, ooh, rough stuff. Foxpax, thank you for donating again. Yep, the survivors should be to you by the end of the week, along with the research we found. Excellent work. This will go in your disciplinary record as a great success. Is there an SCP-800800? No, the Preacher of God. I'm curious as to which god. There is no SCP-Boo-Boo, as you put it. You see, we're only up to SCP-8999 on the current SkipNet database. So in that case, we do not go past 9,000 yet, let alone 800,000. So you can check the SCP Wiki proper for answers like that in the future. Greg, thank you for donating again. Plumbing and water fall under aesthetics at this facility, weirdly. Oh, interesting. Either way, I can't remember what's going on or how long I've been here. The memetic filters and amnestic filters are going overdrive. Ah, yes, that's a safety precaution for today. So, do your best, do your best. What is your most dangerous SCP? Well, Spirit Cat, when it comes to danger, think. Well, 3999 is a massive reality bender, but it is only focused on torturing researcher Talaran. And so, in that mind, it's infinitely dangerous, but it only cares about one dude, so you are in fact safe from it. On the other hand, SCP-3812 is incredibly dangerous because it exists at every narrative level at once, so it is both a fictional character to us and also the author of our fictional universe. Or at least at the level of the author of our fictional universe. But at that same time, it just wants to be left alone, so even though it's infinitely powerful, so to speak, it doesn't want to mess with us. So that is also it's extremely dangerous, but not to us, so to speak. And that leaves things like the Deer, the Scarlet King, SCP-682, SCP-443, but only when exposed to dead bodies. That could be a bad one. That's especially data expunged. What does that say? Interesting. Well, I guess at the end of the day, I'm going to go with... let's call it 3812. I think the strength, even if it's ignoring us, will make it the most dangerous of all. Just because it's not messing with us doesn't mean it's not dangerous. That makes sense to me. Okay. Wait a minute. Orion Nightshade, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some calming jasmine tea on your way past the commissary. Hey, Dr. Sherman, give us your best dad joke. On the fly like this? Oh. What is SCP-173's favorite breakfast cereal? SCP-173's favorite breakfast cereal is Rice Krispies, because when it catches you, your neck will snap, crackle, and pop. Tss. Jonathan Peters, thank you for donating again. Da fuck you mean? SCP-729- It's not the most dangerous, it's just the worst. Get it right. Sunset Nanami, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a Blintz on your way past the commissary. Sombrero on 682 would be so cute. Well, to be fair, sombreros are cute on everything, but pick a different anomaly. Let's not aggravate the angry lizard more than we need to. Soundbreaker, thank you for becoming a member here at Site 42. We appreciate your service as a level 1 researcher, as well as your membership. J. Pendragon, thank you for your first donation of the day, as well as being a member. Is Chuck Norris anomalous? It's difficult to say because, while talented, as far as I know, the man is human, but the mimetic ramifications of deifying a human could create a tulpa-like groupthink into existence situation that made Chuck Norris into an anomaly. And even further, it could be said, possibly, that it is a recursive loop where Chuck Norris created the meme, which created the anomaly, which created the meme, which created the anomaly. And now my eyes are dizzy. Fox Pax, thank you for donating again. Of course, sir. Dark Orodoros, Sergeant Riaz Lightveil, over and out. Do you have to use that sign-off every time? That's so many names. It really fills up the character limit quite quickly. Hey, Dr. Sherman, your shirt changed twice. What did it change into? I haven't noticed. Is something amiss? Guys, can we just say that Matthew Patrick is a certified SCP and a true legend? Well, I do believe that the person of interest known as Matthew Patrick has in fact created an SCP, which is the Theorist Hive Mind. That thing is self-perpetuating and wonky. So, I wouldn't say that Matthew Patrick is the anomaly. I would say Matthew Patrick is the person of interest who created the anomaly. A small distinction. Why not? Thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a can of peanuts that is not secretly a spring snake on your way past the commissary. Help! Somebody tried to steal my identity after I took a photo in a store. I have no face anymore. Help me. Interesting. Let me look at the database for stealing of faces. Face stealer. So we know that the SCP-3008s don't have facial features, but they're not stealing faces. SCP-1163 causes other people's faces to turn into its face, and then it will turn into your face. So SCP-1163 is a face swapper. Interesting. Interesting. Why did SCP-096 come up in my list of face stealers? That's not a face stealer. SCP-180 is a hat that steals your identity. Okay, so if you wear the hat, you become completely unrecognizable. Individuals observing the subject who had their identity stolen will only be able to vaguely describe the features. And the effect lasts until the hat selects a new host. Once 180 has stolen the identity of a host subject, when SCP-180 is placed upon any other subject's head, the identity of the first subject is imprinted on the second. This is possible not only for people, but for animals and inanimate objects. So this is a way for us to disguise agents. That's useful. Did you happen to wear a hat in your photo? That might be your problem. Computer Guy, welcome to the chat. Thank you for being a member. Is Stan Pines a person of interest? Yes, Anomalous Hodge, Stan Pines is indeed a person of interest. I need to know what they're doing in that laboratory. The first time, a few days ago, I had to amnesticize someone for the first time. Does it ever get easier? Well, Random Fandom, thank you for being a member, and it depends on the situation. If you're amnesticizing someone for good reasons, that you, for good reasons, like you're erasing their memory so they forget a traumatic thing, that's a much nicer way to amnesticize someone. But if you're erasing their memory of things that are important to them and it's very sad, such as in SCP-8980, no, that really doesn't get easier. We see a lot of abuse of amnestics, of the amnestics administrators themselves, due to such things. Random Fandom, again, you say, no, Sherman, Dr. Sherman, they meant Stan, not Ford. No, you're talking about Stanford Pines, that lives in the Mystery Shack and does sorts of weird experiments, sells tickets to the townsfolk. That's who we're talking about, right? Yes, they're doing something strange out there. It has to do with anomalies in the woods. They definitely need to be investigated. Greg, thank you for donating again. So the wastewater is alive now, and it is very ang. Well, it seems that, you did not get to finish your sentence, but it's very nice that the wastewater pressed enter for you to send your message after it took you. Very considerate of the wastewater. Why not? Thank you for donating again. I have no hat. It was after I took a photo in a mall. I was in a pit right after, under the mall. So your face was stolen, and you got transported to a pit under the mall? It sounds like you're being taken for a ride, buddy. You better stay sharp, because I think something is trying to catch you. That Stanford Pines is his twin. Sylvia, I don't know anything about any twin. I just know of Stanford Pines, who's living in the Mystery Shack, running the Mystery Shack. That's Stanford Pines. Everyone knows that. Yeah, I didn't know that Stanford had a twin. You're all talking pretty strange today. Foxy Games, thank you for becoming a Site42 subscriber. Welcome to staff. Why was there a pit under the mall? That's what I'm wondering, I'm a fish. I'm wondering why there was a pit under the mall. Origami. Dr. Sherman, why do you put a content warning on SCP-8980? I think I know what happens in the story Ergophobia, but I don't get what is so bad about it. Obviously, being in a situation like that is horrible. Well, Origami, the main reason I say such a thing is because if you open the SCP-8980 document on the wiki, then immediately you are greeted by a splash page that has light mode, colorblind mode, accessibility mode, and you can press just proceed. But once you press proceed, if you look at the ratings module, which, wow, it's rated at 985 positive right now. It is almost at 1,000. I hope some people go read Ergophobia, SCP-8980, and upvote it so it hits 1,000 soon. That would be very cool for it. If you click on that content warning information, it lists all of the content warnings, which you should take seriously. It's a pretty long article, so it takes a while to read. But, yes, viewer discretion is heavily advised, even in the content warnings. So I'm not putting the content warnings. I'm just warning you that there are content warnings that you should be listening to. Light mode hurts my eyes. That's why I have Dark Reader. Same here. Light mode is for charlatans. and crazy people. An acoustic shrimp. Thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to get yourself some microscopic food flakes from the commissary on your way past. Hey, is Bill Cipher in SCP? I'm kind of new, so still working on learning classifications. Signed, Dr. Shrimp. Well, Dr. Shrimp, Bill Cipher is not an SCP because SCPs have to be on the SkipNet database. And Bill Cipher is not classified as an SCP. Now, that being said, Bill Cipher is definitely an anomalous entity of some sort. It is something that, if it existed on the SCP Wiki, we would consider it an SCP. But it is classified as an anomaly, but not an SCP. This is mainly to differentiate because at the SCP community, we don't want to steal entities and works from other people. We are a creative writing community, and we release all our works via the Creative Commons. So we don't want to be in a scenario where we take someone else's copyrighted work, and so we wouldn't make a Bill Cipher SCP because there's already a Bill Cipher who exists. But if we made an SCP that was very similar to Bill Cipher, then it would be an off-brand, just like most art is derivative of other art. But that hasn't happened to my knowledge yet. Greg, thank you for donating again. So good. Oh, wait, you're back. Congratulations on not dying, I guess. So good news, bad news. Bad news, there were knowledgeable people in the plumbing division. Good news, all hail the water god. Wait a minute. Are you the living wastewater pretending to be Greg? You got to tell me if you're a living wastewater pretending to be Greg. I know my rights. Dr. Pepper Dragon, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Go get yourself some barley at the commissary. I swear something goes wrong every day at Site 19. Someone stole an iPod, and now I'm knee-deep in the sewers with a dozen other guys searching for them. Yeah, Site 19 is pretty chaotic. It's one of the larger sites with some pretty dangerous anomalies, so things get chaotic because so many people are focused on the anomalies, they sometimes forget to focus on the staff, which causes a lot of bad problems with double agents and things like that. So get that iPod back. We're not going to lose an SCP over this. Hey, Dr. Sherman, is Lego some kind of SCP? Well, Gizmo, Legos in general are not SCPs, but we do have a fair amount of anomalous Legos. SCP-387 is a tub of living Legos. And then... oh. Well, don't I have egg on my face? It turns out that, SCP-387 is the only Lego SCP here. That can't be right. There must be at least one more. Let me try it like this. Search. All right, so I go into the database and I limit the search parameters. I only want it to be in that zone. Oh, what just happened? What in tarnation? No, no, no. No, close that. Close that. Do not open the containment cells. I'm just trying to search the database. Okay, disaster averted. Oh my God. So, SCP-7543 is also a single anomalous Lego brick that apparently specifically teleports under the foot of Dr. William Weddle while barefoot at inopportune moments. Well, sucks for that loser. Good job, Dr. William Weddle. Desk is 1147, also a Lego. I assume that's why you're sending that to me. Otherwise, it must have been someone asked a question about it. And since this doesn't look like a Lego, it must be someone asked a question about it and I jumped the gun. I guess I'll find out about that one soon. J Pendragon, thank you for donating again. What kind of tests would the Foundation conduct on a Narnia wardrobe? Okay, so the Narnia wardrobe is an interdimensional portal, so to speak. And so we have a simple situation where we'd have exploratory sessions with agents and mobile task forces. They would interact with the anomalies there. They would bring back samples. I could see them, unfortunately, getting involved in the politics on that side of the universe. It would cause a lot of problems, unfortunately. But, hey, some good stories, right? Any SCP that had exploratory logs, like 093, for instance, that would be what you'd end up with in a Narnia situation. Sixpenny. Dr. Sherman, when I asked my last question, you said you use your organization for scientific research purposes. If that's true, why not use SCP-500 to cure all diseases? So think about what you just said. Our job is to research things, not to cure things. Very different jobs. Pay attention now. We have a limited supply of SCP-500 pills. Our research is finding ways to duplicate them, to make them more useful. Our research is to the best of our ability, study both SCP-500 and a litany of anomalous diseases. And if we use the pill to cure one person of anomalous disease, that means that we no longer have one pill to test on. And also, if that was the only person with the anomalous disease, we can't study that anymore. And so, what you're talking about is curing things for the benefit of humanity. But that's not the benefit of humanity. And we can't research it to the actual benefit of reality. Get your head on straight. You get it. I hope anyways. Pastry Piff. Thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Go get yourself some mint jelly on your way past the commissary. SCP-1147 is truly the greatest tree that could ever tree, even if it can't scream. Or perhaps with the right soil, it always screams. Best plums. Alright, so this is that thing I accidentally went to thanks to Desk. Desk, it's not a problem. I jumped the gun. That's on me. So it's a plum tree. Seeds can be planted in practically any substance. The resulting plant will adopt physical attributes from the utilized substance. So rock plums, steel plums, and a whole lot of tests. Sand plum. A glass sphere with glass plums. Okay, well, that's an interesting anomaly. I wouldn't say it's the best tree I've ever seen, but, you know, to each their own tree opinion. Foxpacks and Co. Thank you for donating again. Also, I had some boys of mine examine the residue from the explosion. From what they can tell, the makeup is, I got you there. I have a worrying feeling about that. Do. I did not get any SkipNet database results for that chemical makeup, so be careful. It is a dangerous situation when we are working with unknown chemicals in addition to unstable anomalies, especially right after an explosion. Crazy, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure you grab yourself a pack of Skittles on your way past the commissary. Sorry, Dr. Sherman, I lost Reggie. You know, to be fair, I haven't heard from Reggie in a while. Well, since you volunteered, it's on you to hunt it down. Go find Reggie. Hawaiian shirt, Greg. Thank you for donating again. You sure? Site 19 was redacted from reality 10 years ago. Not to my knowledge. Nobody told me. Site 19 is still active. Clef is still doing his daily, and Dr. Light and Dr. Wright both are active. I haven't seen any problems with the meetings there. Artemis, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some sharp cheddar at the commissary. For you, but not for Josie. Please do not give Josie some cheese. It's going to make it sick, and it's going to be a problem for all of us. Jonathan, thank you for donating again. Idea, if we ever do contain the Dado person of interest, we could have him replicate SCP-500. I cannot feasibly in words put how little I trust an SCP-500 duplicate by Dado. That Dado character would do the most wild things with a cure-all pill. A cure-all pill could just kill you because now you have no more diseases, after all. So, don't trust Dado for anything. You do not need to trust Dado. Foxpax, thank you for donating again. Yep, we're all wearing hazmat gear, including the mobile task force unit that was sent to help us out, or the ones that weren't injured by the explosion. Good, take your precautions. Rebel Commander, good to see you again, and thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Go get yourself some green milk on your way past the commissary. Crayons, turn them back into normal markers and pencils. Oh, well, I'm glad you solved that scenario so you're not getting gray gooed by a bunch of pencils and markers. Terragal, well, I'm going to continue my fight with the baby. Hell yeah. I cannot wait to watch the recording of your baby fights. Not that you are a baby fighting a baby in a baby fight. I know you are not a baby, but you are fighting a baby. That's what I meant by baby fight. Nick the Salamander, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to get yourself a delicious plate of flies on your way past the commissary. How would the Foundation contain the Emperor of Mankind? Would they want to? What he is doing seems kind of important. Let me pull up the database entry on this person of interest / entity. Come on now. Do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. Sorry about the earthquake. Superhuman physical characteristics, time manipulation and stopping, empathic manipulation, telepathy, at least galactic in scale, precognition, clairvoyance, immortality, regeneration, at least low, mid, likely, mid, godly due to being a perpetual. This requires him to fully die. Technological manipulation, telekinesis, matter manipulation, transmutation, shapeshifting, blah, 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 blah. Infinity powers, all the powers. We gave our guy all the powers. That's fine. For entities like this, the general vibe is to make sure they don't come to Earth. As long as they ignore our people, then we don't have to worry about it. But of course, the problem becomes, In the Warhammer universe, Earth is already knowledgeable about all of the things that are anomalous because Earth is the home of this situation. So with that being said, we do not really need to contain the Emperor of Mankind at all because it's part of the human thing that's happening here. Jasper, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a hoagie on your way past the commissary. Permission to leave my cell if I behave. Well, after your last outing, you're going to have to behave for a little while longer. We all will not forget that. Lowrider Boss, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some chicharrones on your way past the commissary. Does the micro HID really take SCPs down easily? Let me pull up the database real quick. Oh, don't do that to me. Come on. The Micro High-Intensity Electrical Discharge Thrower, otherwise known as the Micro HID, or by its codename Project Segmentum, is an experimental weapon in SCP Secret Laboratory. It is an extremely powerful weapon that is effective at terminating SCP subjects. So, my situation here is that in the particular site and universe where Secret Lab takes place, you're dealing with an anomaly to Foundation relationship that's different from most universes. We would not want to destroy anomalies by any sense. We would only want to knock them unconscious to recontain them. And in the case of situations in Secret Lab where 096 needs to be destroyed to be put down, we would not allow that to happen. And in the meantime, LT Ladybug, thank you for subscribing to Site 42. Welcome to staff. And Nick the Salamander, welcome to being a level 1 researcher here at Site 42. We appreciate your membership as well as your service. And so, with that, such a weapon is not available to most sites, but it seems like the situation they're in the Secret Lab universe has them dealing with anomalies in a way that is not conducive to typical Foundation fare. But different strokes for different universal folks. Rebel Commander, thank you for donating again. Need Mobile Task Force. What they made scream is still screaming. All right. I don't know how that's a Mobile Task Force is going to stop that from happening. But you might just want to leave the area. Ignore the screaming. That's what we have to do a lot. We just have to ignore the screaming that's coming from other tests. Sunset Nanami. Thank you for donating again. I see that you got hit by the desk. That may have been because you talked about the SCP researcher we absolutely do not talk about here at Site 42. That is the most likely reason. It happens all the time. So yes, be sure to follow the chat rules. Desk is a tough but fair moderator. Artemis, thank you for donating again. I was a weird guy with a strange... Well, my amulet isn't that strange, so I think it's fine. To a half-decayed lizard. We're not feeding 682 anything. It stays in the acid bath. Come on now. Totally not worried about the screaming. See, Eclipse Fang, you get it. Ignore the screaming. Unless it's the tree screaming. Then very much focus on that streaming. screaming, not streaming. Do not let the tree stream. Although, if we let SCP-4521 become a live streamer, perhaps the abuse from toxic chat fans would cause it to scream. An interesting hypothetical, actually. Silent Follower, thank you for donating for the first time today's stream, maybe? We've been going for a bit. I've already forgotten. Yes, your first donation for today's stream. Go get yourself a pizza Hot Pocket on your way past the commissary. If I were a potential anomaly, teleportation and the ability to cause amnesia in others, your thoughts? Well, I would have to leave you comatose in a box to stop you from brainwashing and leaving the facility. So if that were the case, you'd have a bad time. Rebel Commander, thank you for donating again. Screaming stuff is in wild. Need MTF to contain it. Oh, well that's frustrating. So in that case, I would suggest... Then what you need is to cordon off the area. Call it a gas leak. A team will be there to help you with that in a moment. Oni Mask, thank you for your first donation to today's stream as well as being a member. Make sure to grab yourself a chicken sandwich combo on your way past the commissary. Where did Mobile Task Force Epsilon 11, codename Nine-Tailed Fox, come from? In and out of universe? My headcanon for in-universe is they got the name because they're deployed in units of 9 operatives. Well, I am not familiar with this history, but I can certainly check the database and see if I can find that entry real quick. All right, so I've got a couple of sources here. This is on May 13th, 1965. Wow, they've been operational for a while. Kamolo, welcome to Mobile Task Force Captainship here at Site 42. We appreciate your service and your membership. And because you are at the second tier of membership, you are able to watch the early access videos that we have behind the scenes. There are 2 SCP readings currently available for early access, and I should be uploading a new one behind the scenes later on. So you'll get immediate access to that. That's available to patrons and members of the appropriate tiers. So thank you very much. Now, where was I? Special Operations Group assigned to internal security missions typically include containment breaches at Foundation sites, dealing with targets who jeopardize the Foundation's secrecy. Epsilon 11 is overseen by Alpha 1, Red Right Hand, because of the nature of their missions, which operate directly under the O5 Council. 2139 will probably be their first entry, because it's the earliest in the canon. Come on, where is it? Epsilon 11, 2139. Provisional designation, potentially anomalous psychological phenomenon at Site 35. Cross-checking Foundation containment files. Site 35 Management Committee. I do not see anything about their origin in the story. It feels like they were just sprung to life here. Mass paranoia as an SCP. Hate that for us. I do not see anything that gives me a solid information on the origin of nine-tailed fox, which means that, you are free to headcanon to your joy of joys, Oni Mask. Foxpacks & Co. Thank you for becoming a mobile task force captain here at Site 42. We appreciate your service and your membership, and enjoy those early access videos. Silent Follower, thank you for donating again. Hot Pockets is what depression tastes like. Different temperature in each bite, bland with new disappointment. Okay, yeah, but have you tried the Hot Ones versions? Because I haven't. I just like Hot Ones. And I like the hot sauces from Hot Ones. I've tried them. I love spicy things. So, ooh, good stuff. Except for, of course, Da Bomb. Da Bomb is terrible. We all knew that ahead of time. Woof. I think I have video somewhere of me taste testing hottest sauces. Gotta hunt that down. Foxpacks, you also donated again. Thank you again. Oh, son of a Dr. Sherman, I need amnestics. Multiple news choppers just flew overhead. Listen, you're going to need more than amnestics. We need a full disinformation campaign. Did you happen to spot the channels of the newscopters? Because then we can go to our agents in the city media and we can see if we can kill the stories before they get out. Kamolo. Dr. Sherman, do you know about SCP-1730? I am familiar with the article. What happened at Site 13? It is a really... It was very popular back in its day when it was newer. It's still pretty popular today. But it is a... it is a monster of a story, as most DJ Cactus ventures tend to be. I mean, you don't get to plus 2867 without having some quality in there. Sheesh. They were both Fox Choppers, one nat, one local. Thank you, Foxpacks, for donating again and for the good information because, my word, if we can go through Fox, that's a lot easier because they're so intertwined with each other on the national and the local levels that our agents inside the Fox News apparatus can do some good work there. So, whew, dodged a bullet on that one. Die. I'm still telling Dr. Sherman you lost SCP-999, but at least I found him now. Well, isn't SCP-999 in the East Wing right now? That's the last time I noted SCP-999's position on the database. It's in the East Wing. Are you guys in the East Wing? Or did you find something pretending to be SCP-999? That's unsettling. Desk, I'm actually going to take this one. Aren't anthros and furries SCPs? Well, I don't necessarily know what an anthro is, but furries are just people with a hobby that a lot of people dislike. And no, that's chill. And in fact, furries are a big part of both the artist economy and computer tech and data security. So we respect the furries in the SCP fandom. Desk, also, Fox News could be an SCP front because of all of the misinformation they spread. I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, we basically infected the entire thing. The problem is that what we're really dealing with there is just misinformationing people about anomalies, not about news and politics, unfortunately. That part we don't have control over. Amber, good to see you in the chat. Thank you for being a member, as well as every way that you help out Site 42. And, hi, can't stay, so have a good rest of your day. Oh, my, that refreshed quickly. Rebel Commander, thank you for donating again. Saved pencil, you can make the tree scream with it. Perfect. Keep it locked in that box, bring it over. I look forward to that test. Foxpax, thank you for donating again. No kidding, but you should still inform ops in other channels, just in case I didn't catch them. Good idea. We'll make that happen. Dr. Pepper Dragon, thank you for donating again. Good news, we've recovered the iPod. Bad news, the thief is dead. No idea what killed her. There may be something down here with us. That's not a good thing. Since you have a fragile anomaly with you, hightail it out. We do not need to find whatever killed that thief. Just get the anomaly back into safe containment. That's the priority. Chimera Silver, thank you for your Sliver. Thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Grab yourself a bowl of porridge on your way past the commissary. Anthro is anthropomorphic creatures that are like humanoids. Ah, I see. Well, those would be much more SCP-wise because, you know, humanoid animals are not normal in existence. So that is a thing that would be an anomaly. Although, well, we do have the Kumiho, which is kind of like a anomalous anthropomorphized animal. I believe we have some anthropomorphic SCPs. Anthropomorphic animal SCP. SCP-7341 is a small male humanoid resembling a gnome from European folklore. SCP-6090 instances are polymorphic entities with the ability to shapeshift, so they can be kind of whatever they want. And of course, you've got 953. 3312 is the furries meme that, what's that group called? ATF, Accelerate the Future, yes. The meme that turns people who are not furries into deranged, broken furries. And that we need a furry mobile task force, otherwise known as the Mobile Task Furries, to handle that anomaly. Yes, that is, I'm familiar with that. Warden of the Panopticon. You asked any kitsune. And if you call the Kumiho a kitsune, it will rip your throat out. So be aware of that. I do not believe we have any SCP kitsunes because we already have the SCP Kumiho. And so people have not written... What is this? SCP-7019 Premonition. SCP-7019 is an adult male human by the name of John Volpace, currently the commander of Nine-Tailed Fox. I didn't find this one earlier. Tactical prowess. Bleh, 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 bleh. Oh, he's so good at his job, he's anomalous. Somewhat premonition-based, I guess. Rebel Commander, thank you for donating again. What if the tree can't scream because it's already dead? Oh, don't you worry about that. We have, in fact, repotted the plant. We have planted it. The tree is alive. All biological functions, sans the screaming, are completely normal. So, that is, in fact, something that we have taken into account. Chaos! Thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a blueberry waffle on your way past the commissary. It's hard to stay awake. I can't tell if it's the sleepless nights or the anomalous entity I'm researching. Advice? Well, your first move should be, as I am always prone to, copious amounts of coffee. And on top of that, you should get a good night's rest. So maybe take a day off. Dr. Sherman, did you forget SCP-3000 or did you take pills? No, I'm familiar with SCP-3000. I am on my standard round of Nestix for such anomalies like that. Dr. Sherman, how do you contain most anime characters, considering that most of them can destroy multiverses with a blink? Well, Taha, we contain anime characters with godlike abilities by keeping them in their animes. You lock them in their dimensions and you don't let them out. That's a way easy way to keep it done. How many animes have you seen? All parallel universes where we are containing godlike entities that we don't need to deal with in our world. You're welcome. Mark. Hey, Dr. Sherman, I would donate to the foundation if I could. Hey, just watching the streams, liking and sharing is helpful enough to help us continue to grow. So if you can't donate, we understand completely. We do appreciate your donations because they do help in a very direct sense. But helping the foundation any way you can, that is the foundation's purpose. I just want to know if SCP-096 would be able to finish SCP-012. Well, healing factor, basically infinite blood. No, I believe that it would simply just sit there continuing to do it because I do not believe that on Mount Golgotha is finishable. And so with that being the case, once 096 got seen by someone from 4 fucking pixels, then it would stop messing with the music and go run off and do a murder. So, no, I do not believe that 096 and 012 can finish the job, nor do I think that they can infinitely contain each other. There's no way Dr. Sherman is reading this. Hundo, you have failed in your predictive abilities. Could Shy Guy be able to kill the hard-to-destroy lizard? Gavin, we've done this experiment in the past if you check the termination logs. It's on the SkipNet database. 682 was able to hold off 096 for such a long duration that 096 had a meta crisis of emotional breakdown and ended up just giving up. Desk, whenever you get back, you're good. You're always good. What SCPs have been terminated by the GOC? Well, we're all familiar with the termination of 1609. That one is a well-known failure of the GOC's logic brain, and it caused them all sorts of problems. Let me check the database. Okay, so ta. Let's see, does this say anything? All right, I've gotten into the GOC's database, and I have their liquidated threat entity list. Unfortunately, these are all listed as liquidated threat entities. They're not listed as SCPs. So it's hard to tell if any of these are SCPs that were destroyed or if they were just anomalies they found in the wild. But if you check the Global Occult Coalition case files entry that we have on the SkipNet database, because of course we keep tabs on what they're doing, then you'll be able to see both entities they know of, entities they don't know of, potential entities, and liquidated entities. So go check out the database and see what you can glean from there. What is the GOC? The Global Occult Coalition is the United Nations' answer to the SCP Foundation. They deal with anomalous things on behalf of the UN and the world governments, and so they are more controlled by the world governments. Also, they have more of a habit of destroying anomalies rather than holding on to them and studying them. So we disagree on what their ethos is and how things should go when it comes to researching the anomalous. Isabella Laird. Oh shit, I just realized this was happening. How long are we going to be on here? We are going to be on here for approximately, I would say another, probably around an hour and a half. Looks like we're at an hour and a half left of this office hours. The GOC is a bunch of posers. I agree, common sense. Mr. Few, have you put on the mask? I have not put on the mask, which is obvious because I am alive. And if you put on the mask, you become not alive. Rosie, thank you for your first donation to today's stream, as well as being a member. Make sure to grab yourself a bowl of Dr. Clef's famous chowder on your way past the commissary. Doctor, hello there, how are you? I'm doing well. It kind of hurts to breathe, but fine other than that. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Keep resting and healing. I've done a bit for my SCP so far. Not much, only about 1.2k words. Hey, that's a good start. That's more than most people write when they're trying to do their SCP. So keep up the good work. And remember, your first draft is your first draft. Then you do edits. Then you show it to people for critique. Then you use that critique to make more edits. Then you show it to someone else for critique. Then you make more edits based on that critique until you finally have a finished, polished, beautiful SCP. Xander and Jakovis and Jim, thank you all for subscribing to Site 42. Make sure to enjoy your time here as members of the SCP Foundation staff. Meanwhile, chat, I'll have you know, we have 229 likes and 243 viewers. Hit that like button so that the likes overcome the viewers, and you will be successful as a containment hazard assessment team, aka the chat. Hey there, Dr. Sherman, SCP scientist in training here, and I'm about to take my final exam. Any tips for it? Well, Kara McUnderswap, very good of you to come check in on your office hours before your exam at the cadet school. And so, for your cadet exams, remember to, before you go in, inoculate yourself against cognitohazards. That is the number one thing that knocks cadets out of the academy process, is they forget to do that, and when they reach that cognitohazard, it just knocks them on their asses, and they are unable to do the rest of the test. Obviously, anybody who works for the Foundation should be smart enough to do such a thing. This is your friendly reminder from me. Rebel Commander, thank you for donating again. A pencil escaped. Oh no, need help. Where did it go? Oh man, you boffed it. Oh no. Oh no, your plan to bring the box to us safely and contained and locked. You shitted it. You shitted your plan. You boffed it, man. Well, get that pencil back in the box, obviously. I don't know where it went. It's got to be near you. And if you hear screaming, that means it's something that's being written on. Follow the screams. Pikachu is cute. Hello, welcome to office hours, and thank you for being a member. Should I turn my horror story villain into an SCP? Smash or pass, you're playing a dangerous game there, because very often, characters written into SCPs end up a little Mary Sue-ish. It's not impossible. You just got to tell a good story, and you've got to really make a good SCP document out of it. It can't just be, oh, this guy is so cool and terrifying, but also everyone likes him, and you hang out with them and tell stories. That was the death of SCP, the original SCP-083, Duke, which took place in the rip-roaring tale Duke Till Dawn, which is pretty crazy. Demon, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Go get yourself a sulfur snacky on your way past the commissary. And Z, thank you for subscribing to Site 42. Welcome to staff. Dan W, I managed to survive. Well, that is a W in fact. Congratulations. Pretty please need answers. Well, Deathly Kai, I have plenty of answers. I'm giving away all sorts of answers here, but if you don't ask a question, I can't give you answers. That's the way it goes. Frosty the Glaceon, hello, Dr. Sherman, any SCP work today? Oh, there's always work to be done. Go to your superior officer and you will figure out what you need. All right, let me close some of these tabs. I'm getting overburdened here. Good. Giovanni, you're saying you fell in love with SCP-096? You need to tell me more, because I'm going to act as your on-site therapist for this. What is it about a frail, emaciated, walking corpse that is constantly crying into its hands that makes your heart sing? Do you think you can fix it? Do you look at that terrible, hideous monster and think, oh, I can fix it? Because that says something about you, something that you really need to speak to the on-site therapist about. You're scaring me. You're scaring all of us. That is not a healthy coping mechanism. Listing after the heart of a hideous monster is not going to fill that hole in your heart. Be careful. Kyothuite, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a swizzle stick on your way past the commissary. How do you contain SCP-096 or Peanut? BXBJVR, you can look at the SCP database to see exactly how we contain both of those anomalies. What does SCP stand for? What does SCP stand for? Put what you think SCP stands for in the chat. Right now, in the chat, I want to see what you think SCP stands for. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the stream delay. I'm a very patient SCP researcher. I gotta give it up to Hampter for the proper answer. First and foremost, SCP means Special Containment Procedures. That's its original meaning. That's the first meaning, the original meaning. Secure, Contain, Protect is a motto that came around later. It's a fun little motto. It's very cute. But do not forget, Special Containment Procedures is the original meaning of SCP. And by the way, every SCP document has SCP, Special Containment Procedures. If you go to the SCP-173 document, that's how we contain it. If you go to the SCP-096 document, that's how we contain it. If you go to any SCP document, the Special Containment Procedures are listed there. Please, ask me questions that you can't get the answers to on your own. Please do not waste my office hours on useless pablum. Rosie, thank you for donating again. With regard to the SCP document, so far I have an interview log, containment details, description, how Rosie E. Miller got on the project, the death of the previous project lead. Would you like to know? what I would say is I want to make sure, I mean, right now I'm not seeing, that's a lot of different sections. So the big question is, have you woven a cohesive story about it? Or a cohesive story out of all that information? The biggest deal is people can write a bunch of information, but it doesn't turn out to be an interesting story. So that's going to be one of your things, is you've got a lot of ideas, I can tell. It's just weaving them. And so remember, here at Site 42, I can't be checking out drafts of everybody's prospective SCPs because there's a million Site 42 followers and there's only one me. So you got to find SCP friends to share drafts and critique and get your article up to snuff. But once you get it on the SCP Wiki, then I am legally allowed to go look at it. So once it's on the SCP Wiki, I can check it out. That is the Site 42 bylaws that stops me from doing nothing but looking at drafts. It's a hard life, but we do our best with what we got. Space War Gaming, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure you grab yourself some astronaut food on your way past the commissary. Has the Foundation used nukes in the past, like 08? Oh, the on-site nukes rarely have to get triggered, thank you. We're not that reckless. So yes, have we used an on-site nuke to make sure that nothing breached containment and therefore losing all of the buildings and staff and anomalies and resources in that site? Sure. Do we do it often? Depends on your definition of often. Antagonist, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Very cool to have a Fallout Universe superhero in my chat. Make sure to grab yourself some Nuka-Cola on your way past the commissary. Can you send over a 500? My head is hurting badly. You know we can't prescribe SCP-500 for headaches anymore. That is obviously out of line, so you know better than to ask. Wrath, please, I crave freedom. Stay in your box. You're not going anywhere. 051, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a box of Pocky on your way past the commissary. Tarantula, ugh. Thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some tasty wasps on your way past the commissary. Tarantula, thank you for donating again. Signal crash, are we back, It seems like we had a... Oh. Seems like we had a small hacking attempt. Steve, see who tried to hack our signal. Amy, thank you for being a member. Dr. Sherman, since researchers can't flirt with the anomalies, I assume you mean anomalies, what happens if they flirt with the researchers? What do you think? I'm going to say what you should do when an anomaly flirts with you. A, do not flirt back. B, do not flirt back. C, inform your immediate supervisor of this behavior so that we can plan for that in future testing. And D, do not flirt back! Is it wrong that I find a failed hacking to be a little funny? Well, Abby, our enemies and our ops are all pathetic. So yes, it is quite humorous that they tried and failed to hack us. I also find that quite humorous. Aha, aha. Jeanette, what if I do flirt back? Then, like And San here states, I will be hashtag annoyed and asexual, and I will put a demerit on your permanent record. The only time you are allowed to flirt with an anomalous entity is if it is part of a ploy to get information from it that we cannot otherwise get. And you may never follow through on such a honeypot tactic. Demon Burns. I actually just got here and this is funny as fuck. I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad you appreciate the charming, educational way that I teach SCP information. It is very helpful to have a, spoonful of sugar, so to speak, to let the good SCP information go down. Void Killer, drop the act, bro. Do you actually believe in this stuff? So, Void Killer, out of character. We at the SCP Foundation community do not joke that the SCP Foundation is real. It is because of the Slender Man stabbings about a decade ago, because those kids thought Slender Man told them to stab their friend. So we do not pretend to be real. Anytime someone asks if SCP is real, we drop the act because it's just the right thing to do to stop people who are easily influenced from doing bad things. That being said, if you've ever gone to a Renaissance festival, people are there acting and having a good time and interacting, and that's what we're doing here. It's fun. Theater kids having a good time, goofing off, talking about one of the best online creative writing communities and art conclaves of all. So yes, you can relax. We're just having a good time, bro. 051, thank you for donating again. We have found a universe where an anomalous entity are building their own containment sites in sync to music. It is confusing. I have the link, but I can't send it via super chat. You know how I can give it to you. Before I answer that, hey Virus, always theater kids, bruh. I'm a choir kid. Well, I was a choir kid first, and I transitioned to a theater kid later in life. So, there's that. Anomalous entity are building their own containment sites in sync to music. That is confusing. I guess you could send the link to the business info email, or desk can tell me what's going on. I don't know what you're talking about. Rosie, desk has told me that you were asking if I wish to know why Rosie was on the project. Only if you also tell me a little bit about the project, because knowing why Rosie was assigned to the project, I would then have to know what the project is for it to make sense in context. Context is always important. And while all of this is still coming, I am rolling down. Christmas. Hello, I'm new to the SCP fandom. Where's the best place I could find to start out? I'm having trouble understanding it all the way. So, the SCP fandom is vast and difficult to get into because there's so much. It's very much like getting into comic books. It's very hard to know where to start. So where you should start is finding something you are interested in to use as an anchor point. So, if you find someone talking about an SCP that you like, or that they like, you can check that out if you trust their taste. So for a lot of people, I am that anchor point. I have 1 million followers here on YouTube for some godforsaken reason. And so I am the anchor point introduction to a lot of people for SCP lore. And so what I do is I kind of curate the SCP Foundation for people. Pardon me, I drank my coffee too fast. Oh, pardon. So, in that case, people are looking to me to tell them where to go in the fandom. And so I tell them my favorite SCPs, which are a starting point that they can enjoy, because if they trust my taste, and if they like my channel, they probably trust my taste, they can go see the SCPs I like. They can read the SCPs I wrote, because obviously if I wrote them, they're to my taste, which means they are to the audience's taste. We bring up SCPs in discussion all the time, discussing different anomalies. And if you hear something that sounds interesting, go read it. And that's the only thing you can do. There's not a through line that you can take all the way through the community. It's more like throwing a rock into a lake, and whatever the rock lands on, that's the article you read. And then the more you do it over time, the more knowledgeable you become. When I started in the community, I had no idea what was going on. I had read a couple of articles, and then eventually I now have read thousands of SCP articles and tales. There's a playlist of 500 audio adaptations voiced over to SCPs that I have on this channel alone. And so if you want to listen to SCP documents that I found interesting enough to merit recording, you can listen to that playlist of 500 plus different SCP articles. And so this is all the different ways you can get into the fandom. And of course, I'm always trying to get more people to go to the SCP Wiki itself, to go to the source. Go to the source. Oh, Dr. Pepper Dragon, thank you for donating again. I made it out. Something weird's going on at Site 19. Something weird is always going on at Site 19. Desk has alerted me that we have giantly passed views with likes. 293 viewers, or sorry, 293 likes to 212 viewers. Congratulations, Site 42 staff. You have achieved the possible since you did it. And so congratulations, and keep hitting that like button, because the higher we push that, the more people we will forcibly expose to the SCP Foundation, whether they like it or not. One of us. One of us. One of us. Tara Gall, thank you for donating again. I unfortunately lost again. 6564 is apparently better at fighting like than me. Also, can I call 682 a she to antagonize it for research purposes? So, yes, no one has found the final form of SCP-6564. That baby is a terrible opponent, very powerful at the higher levels. And so the best thing we can do is keep throwing people at it until someone beats it to the final level. I'm very interested in seeing how far we can push that thing. I have a hypothesis that once we get past its Dark Souls boss phase, eventually 6564 will gain a size like that of Ralph the Dapper Skeleton. And oh boy, do I want to see what happens when we can get Ralph the Dapper Skeleton and a Ralph the Dapper Skeleton sized SCP-6564 to hang out, whether in combat or just straight chillin'. Silent Follower, thank you for donating again and helping to ask that previous question about getting into the fandom. You watch IGP plays SCP-style games. I got into SCP because I like scary and spooky stories, games, and media. What a great reason to get into the Foundation. And it's funny because definitely in the beginning, when it was very creepypasta focused, it was definitely more creepypasta and horror focused. But essentially, since we've had to evolve and branch out, since the simple stories were all done and we had to keep growing and evolving from there, it's definitely become more about the bureaucracy of the format rather than just plain horror. There's bureaucratic comedy, there's bureaucratic sci-fi, all that kind of stuff as well. Scrolling down. Hey, Dr. Sherman, what if you found a man who speaks in wingdings? Well, I think the results of that interrogation would be very, very interesting. I am currently on fire, missing half of my limbs, bleeding profusely, and been shot 5 times with a laser cannon, but still alive. Well, Dan, that does not sound like a W this time, does it? Now, you must have one of your hands to be typing, so put your phone in your pocket and use your one hand to drag yourself to the medical bay. Zen, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a pack of Junior Mints on your way past the commissary. The femur breaker is a weird machine. I don't think it's that weird. It's just a machine that your femur. I think it's actually pretty straightforward. I don't think it's weird at all. Space War Gaming, thank you for donating again. I found a gun that won't run out. Is it an SCP? I can't explain it. Well, I mean, the gun that shoots teeth technically runs out of clip, but then it reloads itself over time. And so that is an SCP, but I don't know of any other infinite gun SCPs, so it might be anomalous and you'll need to check it in with research. I mean, if it doesn't run out, then it's obviously anomalous. The SCP-8803 project, OC project, was started upon containment of the entity. The previous team leader was killed, mutilated beyond recognition by SCP-8803. Rosie was assigned after. Well, that doesn't sound good for Rosie. I hope they fare better than the secondary and than the original team leader. I liked the famous ones and then got into the less known ones, so yes, I like reading SCPs. Good work, Not Active. You've done your good job, service, deep diving, and going beyond the popular to the more obscure. That's how we like to see it. What would you recommend to be the first SCP to look into for someone who's completely lost? Well, I would honestly start with 173, the first SCP. It's just very straightforward. You can get the idea of what the community is from that, and then you can hop onto a whole bunch of different articles from there. Honestly, the ones that are very popular and mimetic are that for a reason. It's that they're easy to understand. So getting into 173, 096, and 682 is a good starting point for simple entities. 093 is great for people who like longer stories, and the format of the exploration logs. And then one of my favorites that I don't often talk about, I really think I ought to add it to my favorites. It's just not usually in my list for some reason. SCP Barn Hearts. SCP 1983 is a particularly spooky earlier SCP that I used to be a huge fan of. I don't think it holds up to my writing standards to keep it on my favorites nowadays, but ooh, when I first got into the community, it was a spooky one. Reading that one after dark, 1983, that's a rough one. Hat Kid of a Hat in Time, best live ever. Well, I appreciate that. I am glad that you are enjoying our dive into the different facets of the SCP database. Dr. Sherman, what is the strongest SCP out of all the SCPs? Goku Fan 1 Godzilla. Obviously, you're someone who thinks about power scaling in such a manner. The strongest SCP by far is SCP-6101. The description's first sentence is the most powerful SCP. Can't get much more powerful than that. So yes, SCP-6101 is the most powerful SCP. 051, thank you for donating again. Link sent in email. What am I looking at here? Okay, so we're looking at some kind of Looney Tunes construction company. Well, that's highly efficient. Okay, and why did you care about that? Anomalous entities are building their own containment sites in sync to music. It's confusing. I have a link that I can send it to you. Okay, so you're saying the anomalies are building their own containment? To me, it doesn't look like they plan to contain themselves in there. It looks like they are just building buildings, which another anomaly that's very similar to that would be the SCP Beavers. SCP-6622 are hydroelectric beaver dams, and say they are beavers with incredible building skills. And so, very similar to that, you're just going to be dealing with anomalous beavers. Anomalous things that build things in ways that are anomalous. Yeah, if someone's making anomalous buildings, you should really just make sure to cordon off the area so no one can go see those things being built in such a way that is abnormal. Preserve normalcy, that's number one. Bro just broke Amendment 14. Well, you should know that we are not beholden to the laws of the United States government here at the SCP Foundation. We follow our own code as a private organization that is untethered from reality due to our playing with things behind the veil of normalcy. Christopher, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a double steak burrito on your way past the commissary. I'm still alive after spending time with 053 since I last sent a message to you. Well, yes, you didn't seem to be affected, which was quite peculiar. So I wasn't expecting any harm to come to you. Dr. Pepper Dragon, thank you for donating again. Bad news, the search team and I are being detained and placed on lockdown. Looks like I won't be coming to Site 42 again until site investigations are over. Well, take care. I assume that our teams are securing you down for proper reasons, so just handle things and make your way back when you can. Oh, I've beaten SCP-6564. Well, Puppet Master, yes, you may have beaten the first form, the literal baby, but then the second form is bigger and stronger, and the third form is bigger and stronger. You need to be careful of what you're setting yourself up for. Aiden, do you still do the character as an SCP, but if it were series? I am currently working on a script for that. It's just a very complicated script, and so it's slow going. I'm trying, but it's both a complicated subject, and I am trying to make the format bigger and better in this new season, so I'm setting myself up for a lot of work, unfortunately. Not active. It was nice being here. Glad to hear it. What do you think about the SCP game that made SCP popular, SCP Containment Breach? I think it's a fun little game. If you enjoy the game, there is a 6-hour video essay on it that dropped a couple of months ago by a YouTuber named Dogma. It's a great video, and so you should check that out if you're a Containment Breach fan. Is there a tax SCP? Well, Shreymac, I don't believe we have a tax SCP in particular, but we do have a tax accountant SCP. Very good for keeping things efficient when it comes to our finances at the Foundation. Who are you and what is your purpose? That's a very profound question. Well, I am Dr. Theron Sherman, Site 42 Site Director of the SCP Foundation. My purpose, I guess, is to educate lower level Foundation staff on the ins and outs of working at the Foundation, on the anomalies we contain, and making sure to secure and contain and protect humanity from the things that go bump in the night. Oop. You saw nothing. Can the shy guy dunk? And if it can, remember, anomalies are objects, not people. Do not humanize the anomalies. Shy guy is an it, not a he. And if it can, is it better than LeBron? So, as far as memetics go, I am familiar with the shy guy be balling meme. I do know about that. But on the other side, whether or not shy guy can ball, we don't know because shy guy has never attempted to ball. The entity is always just crying and crying, or killing and killing. Or killing and crying and killing. But never have I seen 096 ball IRL. So I'm going to have to plead I don't have knowledge on that scenario. 051, thank you for your very generous donation today. Make sure to head to the commissary and tell them, Dr. Sherman said don't give me a damned thing. And then when they hear that, they're going to know, oh, okay, we're going to let you take the good stuff. That's how we roll here. Will I be damned, pun not intended, a 6622 universe at Looney Tunes construction site, we'll keep an eye on it. If they make power like the 6800 megawatts listed on the database, then maybe find is use as a backup power for 076 and 106 containment. I mean, the problem is that we can't move them because they stopped doing their thing and we can't breed them. So unless we build a containment site near that site, it's not going to be super useful. But it's an idea to think about. It's an idea to think about. Dr. Sherman, me and my friend listened to your interview with SCP-049. He is a vegetable. Well, yes. In fact, 049 did, in fact, turn Raymond Ham into a vegetable. It was very upsetting. The historical records are important to keep track of, so we remember not to trust 049 too much. SCP-1983 is a bad day. I agree, Ken Winger. You don't want to go in there if you don't have to. Warden of the Panopticon. What is your opinion on the SCP-5000 possibility? Would the Dr. Sherman in that universe rebel or join the insane Foundation? Well, if Dr. Sherman in that universe is anything like me, which logically he would be, then he would be very loyal to the Foundation. And so I don't believe he would rebel against the Foundation if there was a reason for such containment procedures. Christopher, thank you for donating again. The commissary said they were all out of beeritos. No, burritos, not beeritos. What the hell is a beerito? What the hell is a burrito? I mean, we make burritos wet with cheese. Why couldn't we make a burrito wet with beer? But that would make the tortilla too soggy to hold. What if we use the beer as a braise for the chicken? That could work. Marinade, I mean, we have beer brats, so why wouldn't we have beer burritos in that case? You know what? Tell the commissary to make you a burrito to the best of their ability. I'd like to try one later, and I want them to get a practice swing first. Clef, you got a good point. Beer cheese. Also, beer cheese would be great. Rurik, thank you for your first donation to today's stream as well as being a member. Make sure to grab yourself another sandwich at the commissary, because I guess you lost yours. So the commissary will whip you one up. Good job. Oriya, thank you for donating again. Can 049 cure anything else besides the pestilence? Well, its cure is turning people into zombies, so I'm not one to claim that it can cure anything, for real. Hey, is the Backrooms an SCP? Well, Space War, the SCP Foundation does not have the Backrooms on our database. Therefore, the Backrooms is not an SCP. That being said, in cases like this where another pop culture entity is in fact anomalous, we say it's anomalous, but it's not an SCP. That's the clarification. So even movie monsters, Freddy Krueger is anomalous, but not an SCP. Yes, a being that can invade your dreams and pop out of them and kill you is anomalous AF. It's just not an SCP. By the way, Jailer, is your site the answer to life, the universe, and everything? Well, my site number is a reference to the answer to life, the universe, and everything, yes. But I don't believe my site is the answer to life, the universe, and everything. That would be pretty egotistical of me to say. Pretty narcissistic. I mean, we are pretty great, but I don't think we're the answer to life, the universe, and everything. Or are we? Who's to say? That's for you to say. Are you, quote, barely hanging on because of the tree again? The therapist recommends you stop trying. That therapist is a coward, and that's why I need a new therapist. What is your favorite SCP? Well, son of the Jolly Rogers, I always tell you my favorite SCPs, plural, at the end of stream, which is in about 1 hour. So we're going to hang out for about another hour, and then you will know my favorite SCPs. Of course, you could just go back to the previous stream in the archives because I do the same thing at the end of every stream. So you have the ability to cheat, but you wouldn't cheat, would you? No, of course not. Silent Follower, thank you for donating again, and goodbye. It's been fun hanging out today. I'm glad to hear you had fun. We'll see you at the next one you are available at. RSA Left 9, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some rations on your way past the commissary. Hey Doc, mind if I swing by 999 with the Mobile Task Force team? Sure. Last I heard 999 was in the East Wing, so go, do a little morale shaping. Christopher, thank you for donating again. They said okay because it's you asking. They'll send you one after I eat the failers. That sounds delicious. I can't wait. I am, in fact, very, very hungry for a burrito all of a sudden. I look forward to its arrival after I'm finished with this office hours. Thoughts on Dr. Bob? Well, Raider, I am unfamiliar with Dr. Bob's work the most. I've done some deep dives into the Void, Detective Void, and Rubber's content. I'm mostly familiar with SCP's Explains work, but Dr. Bob is still a mystery to me. Not only do they not have any social media or way to get in contact with them as a artist and creator, that's kind of weird. Most artists and creators are pretty self-promotional because that's how you get your art out to people who want to see it. But also, there's that incident the other week where we found out that a international language version of Dr. Bob's channel seemingly stole a video from SCP Explained. It's pretty weird. Let me see if I can find that again. Where is it? I got the information here somewhere. Yes, so if you... Oh, pardon the earthquake. So there's a video called Evil SCP-914 Furry Transformations More Terrifying Than SCP-173 on the SCP Explained channel. And of course, clickbait, 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 you know how it is with these content farms. But then on the international Dr. Bob e la Fondazione, which I believe is Italian, there is a Trasformazioni Pelose Malvagi di SCP-914 più spaventosi di SCP-173. And it's the same thumbnail, it's the same length, it's the same video. So did Dr. Bob steal this from SCP Explained? The SCP Explained video is 8 months ago. The Dr. Bob e la Fondazione video is 6 months ago. And so obviously the second one is newer, but I don't know. Did Dr. Bob steal from SCP Explained? Are they the same company? Is this foreign language version of Dr. Bob ripping off Dr. Bob and SCP Explained and it's not affiliated with either? It's rather confusing to me. I don't understand. So I'm very curious about that Dr. Bob scenario, but I don't know if I'm to blame Dr. Bob for the threat or not. So Dr. Bob is iffy right now because I'm not sure about that. Is it theft if the video is under Creative Commons 3.0? Also, the content farms deserve it. Great point, Desk. So, there is moral use and immoral use when it comes to the Creative Commons, because we have to decide, okay, is it legal but still a dick move? That comes up very often. There's a lot of things people do that are legal but still asshole behavior. And so, when people just re-upload another person's Creative Commons video with no changes, that's not in the spirit of the Creative Commons. That is just theft. You made no changes. Even if you credit the original source, it's not like you did anything with it, you're just re-uploading. Even if that is legal within the Creative Commons, it's definitely a dick move. Unless you're doing it for some sort of archival purpose, unlike the Internet Archive or something. But for the Dr. Bob to monetize a copy of a video, that's no bueno. At least spiritually, morally. Mad Dog, I do not know if Dr. Clef is a violinist, but I do know a ukuleleist. Ah, there's Desk with the same answer. Oh51, thank you for another freaking generous donation. Jesus Christ. Last donation for me this month, friend. So I have one more question for you. I would run it by your email, so have that window open during your month streak. Also, I would ask you for this one, what most goofy and cartoony SCP you had to deal with. So, I can only keep my email open during streams from the acoustics lab. I can't do that in the field, just so you know. And also, we got to make sure that's not a legal way to send me questions in general, because otherwise my business email box will become flooded with things I can't respond to. And I need that to hear from SCP companies that are trying to make games or films in the SCP sphere. We can't crowd that with just questions. It is a business email, not a ask anything or a role play email. Please keep the business email a business email overall, people. What is the most goofy or cartoon SCP you've had to deal with? Goofy and cartoony. I'm going to go with one of the SCP-7000s. SCP-7780 is definitely the goofiest / most cartoony SCP anomaly I've dealt with, because it is the episode where in SCP-7780, a probabilistic anomaly affects the containment site where Mobile Task Force Tau-5, codename Samsara, otherwise nicknamed as the Power Rangers, because they're super-powered cyborg clone Mobile Task Force units, they ended up with a probabilistic anomaly that turned their entire site into a Looney Tunes episode. People slipping on banana peels, people tripping and falling and running through doors that go into other doors that go into other doors. It is hilarious. I go back to that log for a laugh every now and then because, oh my word, 7780 is great. I know you said no flirting with the anomalies, but what if it is really hot? Think of what my answer is going to be. Predict in your mind what the hashtag annoyed in asexual site director is going to say to your response when you already know what the rules are. Think hard. Are you ready? Obviously not. Jiminy sakes. Orion Nightshade, thank you for donating again. How are the SCP movie projects and such going? It's slow going because the hardest part is, since I have moved to California, I have made good industry contacts here and there, but right now with the state of the country and everything, the United States, it's very hard to wrangle anyone for unpaid work or low paid work. And so I've got plans, I've got ideas, but what I need is enough funding to basically make a small indie film that I can actually pay people to be at. Because something we do for SCP is going to be several weekends worth of work. It's not just going to be a one and done shoot, unfortunately. And so I need to be able to pull these people away from paying work in order to get this done. Amy, I'm adding your protestations as demerits to your permanent staff record. So your disciplinary record is tanking the more you whine about this. You are not safe. Welcome to Site 42 subscription. Very ominous. Hey Doc, what do you do when you get R&R leave? Oh, well, when I get R&R leave, I have copious hobbies, of course. I have copious things that I like to do when I'm not working for sure. And I do those things with great vigor when I am allowed to not work and to do said hobbies that I pursue with great enjoyment and relaxation. Oh, don't you know it? Don't you know that I do lots of wonderful hobbies that are not work? Orion Nightshade, thank you for your first donation to today. Or not first donation. Thank you for donating again. Have you considered hiring student filmmakers? I'm a student filmmaker and would be interested if that's a path until you can get professionals. Well, I'm always interested in contacting with more people in the film industry, so this is the kind of person who should send me a business email and we can talk shop about working behind the scenes on things like that. It depends on your location, it depends on the kind of work you do, all that kind of stuff. We're running a business, a film business, hopefully. Not yet, but soon. Christopher, thank you for donating again. I would like some children's books to read to 053. May I have children's books for reading to 053? Well, I don't see why not. Be cautious and do not try to harm 053 or the book. You never know when your unpredictable immunity to its anomaly may change, so be cautious. I don't want you trying to John Wick a child. Just stopping by to say hi? Well, hello, Blue Fire. Dr. Sherman, what's your opinion on SCP-6373? Well, I am unfamiliar with this, and so I'll pull it up, and while I do so, I will quickly answer very simply, best pizza topping. Pepperoni is by far the best pizza topping that's ever been existed, by far. Easy answer. Now, other toppings are good, and combinations can be nice, but nothing beats that. All right, so a building containing SCP-6373. It is a collection of 4 papier-mâché puppets, each 1 meter in height. That's pretty big for a papier-mâché puppet. Now, a reminder, we are looking at a J. Dune SCP here, and J. Dune never misses. So we always trust a J. Dune banger. Chemical analysis indicates puppet's exterior is constructed from non-anomalous material. All attempts to observe the interior of 6373 through physical or endoscopic means have failed. All instances are attached to an individual set of strings bound together by a plastic cross-shaped mechanism intended for control by a puppeteer. At 1,800 hours daily, 6373 will gain anomalous properties, primarily limited sentience, mobility, and intelligence. When conditions for animation are sufficient, they do go to the stage of the theater to perform an act. The details of this performance are fluid and ever-changing, and presently no repeat performances have been observed. So we've got 4 puppets, a puppet theater, criminals after a botched bank robbery, scene on a farm during a war, a dragon. So there's a lot going on here with these puppets, and I don't want to go too in-depth because I could read a J. Dune article all day, but you're not here to watch me read an entire SCP article. So all I can say is that I know J. Dune articles always rock. I am a J. Dune SCP author fan, and so enjoy J. Dune stories. Most of them, I have never had J. Dune miss, in my opinion. And in fact, J. Dune is one of the authors of one of my favorite articles, I believe, 5175. That's either J. Dune or Plague. I always mix those two up, even though they are not nearly the same name. 5175 is a J. Dune venture. Good, I was right. Desk, you are approximately correct. We are at the 50 minutes to end of stream. Building Block, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some delicious Lego glue on your way past the commissary. I'm building a Lego SCP mobile command center disguised as a semi-truck and trailer. Do you have a business front name I could use? I would go with Stephanie's Classy Posies. Pikachu is cute. Thank you for your first donation of the day. Make sure to grab yourself a nice cream on your way past the commissary. What do you think about Roblox SCP games? Well, I am not familiar with them because I don't play Roblox. But I like anything being made about the SCP Foundation in general because the more that happens, the more people get into it. So I think that's pretty peachy keen. Sir, I found a Greek goddess that is trying to make humanity fall in love. Should I call some experts to bring her in? No, you're sitting with a situation, which is that we already have the Greek goddess of love, Aphrodite, contained. Aphrodite is literally SCP-7454. Or I guess it's claims to be, so maybe there's some different, maybe there's another entity that is actually Aphrodite and not this one, but we're pretty sure it's Aphrodite for 7454, so maybe it's a Roman entity that's pretending to be a Greek entity. I mean, we all know how that is. What happens if SCP-096 gets put in a mirror maze? Well, definitely normal profile. 096 already knows what it looks like. After all, it doesn't like what it looks like, and that's why it's shy. And so, if it goes in a mirror, it's not going to off itself. It knows what it looks like already. It's just going to keep wandering around the mirror maze, and all that does is make it harder to not look at its face when we go to try and recontain it. So what happens is we lose several mobile task forces instead of one mobile task force. Are you affiliated with the SCP Secret Laboratory Roleplay server, Site42? Not only am I not affiliated with that, I didn't know it existed. I did not realize that their roleplay server, or a roleplay server about them, was named Site42. That is news to me. What is your favorite anomaly to do tests on besides the tree? SCP-420-J. Jet, do you have any tips on starting an SCP channel for new creators? Well, the most important thing for starting any channel of content creation is practicing your content creation. For me, all of the acting classes I've taken in life, the performances I've done in theater and film, all of the work I've done with lighting and camera and sound, these are all things I had to have as skills before I got into content creation. I've always wanted to be in a movie or a TV show. Doing online content creation was a pivot that I accidentally got into. And so you need to build up your performance and tech skills, because if you're doing content creation, you are both you are the behind-the-scenes tech guy and the actor all in one. You're the actor, the director, the writer. So you have a lot to deal with there. And so you got to work on all of your skills to get to a place competently enough that people will sit and watch you for several hours on end. It's tough, trust me. But you work on your skills, and after a while, you become that person. And then, of course, it's about building your content, the kind of content you want to make. I've gone through several waves of different kinds of content and going back to some of them, but putting more effort into them to improve them. It's a tough business. Grocery shop. Dr. Sherman, how long have you been streaming? I swear you're streaming every time I scroll by. So today we have been scrolling. We've been streaming for 2 hours and 15 minutes. The stream is going to end at the 3-hour mark today. But for about just shy of a month now, I've been doing daily streams since we hit 1 million subs. And it's nice to come and communicate with you guys a little more often than just in the videos. And so with that, we've normally been streaming anywhere from 30 minutes to 3 hours a day for 28 days now. 28 days later, how are you guys enjoying the daily streams? I'm having fun with it. And I think you guys are learning a lot more about the SCP Foundation this way. I'm working on an SCP researcher as my OC cosplay of Dr. Pisces, SCP researcher at Site 19. Oh, have fun with that. Lazy AI. Dr. Sherman, how many SCP would you be able to summarize off the top of your head? Well, while it would be a large amount of SCPs, because God, have I read so many, I do not want to feed AI summaries into an AI. So nice try, but we're not doing it. A little more coffee from my thermos, please. Do you know Dr. Bob? Illy, not only do I not know Dr. Bob, but I've never talked to or seen contact information for Dr. Bob. Usually you see online artists who are making things and they try to get their name out there, get other gigs, kind of grow as a creator, grow a fandom. Dr. Bob is just kind of hidden. It makes me believe that Dr. Bob is a content farm like The Void or The Rubber, where they were companies in countries who were mass marketing very cheap fly-by-night content. But I've not watched enough of Dr. Bob to see if I dislike their work. And I'm calling it their because I'm pretty sure they're a company. But, I mean, I could find people who work for The Rubber and Detective Void on LinkedIn listed. So I was able to find the company they worked for. I haven't found that for Dr. Bob yet, but one day maybe it'll turn up. Desk would like to inform you of a clear rule of thumb to keep track of, which is if a Dr. Sherman live stream is in the field at a stakeout, you can expect an average stream length of about 30 minutes to 1 hour, maybe 2 if we're lucky. But when we're in the acoustics lab, that's when you usually get a 2 to 3 hour stream. Nicholas, I like your streams. Fun times. Well, thank you. And Junior Researcher, I'm loving it. Great chance to RP and just hang out with other SCP fans. Happy to help out. I'm glad that's working. Everyone gets something a little different from what we're doing here. That's the beauty of arts communities. You caught me, Doctor. That's right, lazy AI. I'm wise to your games. How long have you worked at the Foundation? I've heard of people working at the Foundation for around 20 years or more. Well, the Foundation, depending on the site, certain sites have been around for hundreds of years. Depending on what canon you're looking at, the Foundation was founded in like 1800 sometimes. So, and sometimes even further back. So, and then depending on the life lengthening measures that the O5s go through. Some of them are hundreds of years old too. So you never know. But me, I've been around for about, let's say, 10 to 15 years on staff. Christopher, thank you for your amazingly generous donation. I want you to leave the site. That's right, I'm giving you a voucher to go off site and go into the nearest town. And when you get there, you're going to show up to a Greasy Spoon diner at the entrance of town. And when you go in, you're going to tell them, give me a double vanilla milkshake. Trust me when I say this is not just any double vanilla milkshake. You're going to have a good time, my friend. Thank you very much for your generosity. There's a female presenting human-shaped thing in Greek clothes trying to shoot me with its bow. I don't know where it's getting the arrows from. Don't worry, it wasn't around 053 when I started getting attacked, so 053 is safe. Did the female presenting human-shaped thing in Greek clothes chase you and leave 053 behind? Good. You say it's safe, so that means that we're not going to get 053 killed by this Greek entity. Now, you say a human-shaped thing, so you're saying it's not human, it's human-shaped. That is important information. Just get to the nearest security troop and let them handle it from there. Meanwhile, RSA Left, thank you for donating again. Doc, 999 morale boost complete. We're good to go. Excellent work. We'll see you guys after the next mission. Retro, have you personally met Dr. Clef before? If so, what did you talk about? If not, would you want to? So depending on how you want to phrase this question, Clef and I hang out all the time. We're Hawaiian shirt bros. Clef is the out-of-control wild man, and I am the straight man in the relationship who is a gawk at all of the crazy things that Clef gets up to. And so, although when it comes to the tree, usually I'm the one that's a little out of sorts, unfortunately. Don't worry, we'll get that tree eventually. Meanwhile, I have spoken to the original author of Dr. Clef, and twice in my life. Clef requested an SCP reading from me on Tumblr way back when I started making Site 42 videos. Clef requested that I make an audio reading of SCP-1333-J, The Screaming Man! And so I did that because, hey, if Dr. Clef asks, then hell yeah, go for it. And then recently, 10 years later, I talked to Clef about the formation of the GOC as preparation for an interview with Afray Interactive in their game SCP-5K. And so I talked to Clef in depth about the GOC during that interview. So that was pretty cool. The SCP Foundation is kind of cool, but no offense, it can be kind of confusing. Tyla, you are not wrong. Not only is there so much lore to get into and chase down, and that's difficult on its face, but on top of which, just barring the where do I start question, a lot of SCP stories get very esoteric in their storytelling. There are format screws, and so it's very difficult to just comprehend certain stories. And so I often go into the discussion page and I look up people talking about their hypotheses of what's going on. And honestly, you might be very interested in a subreddit called SCP Declassified. SCP Declassified is a group of SCP authors and fans who write explanations of more complex stories. That subreddit is great for getting the lowdown on difficult to understand SCPs. Highly recommend the SCP Declassified crew. Warden of the Panopticon, great question. So the Clef here is not the Clef, just to clarify. And what I will tell you is this. Author Clef is not the Clef that we have here. Desk of Alto Clef is out of character, a Alto Clef fanboy who became such a fanboy and so knowledgeable about the Clef character, and a cosplayer of Dr. Clef so accurately that it changed Author Clef's headcanon. Author Clef had a headcanon, and Desk changed that. So Desk is basically the platonic ideal of Dr. Clef incarnate. I mean, I was Dr. Sherman from the start, so that was easy to characterize myself as Dr. Sherman. But Desk essentially stole Clef from its author. That's pretty hardcore. So we hold up the Desk as the paragon of Clefness, of Clefosity. Rosie, thank you for donating again. Honestly, your view of anomalies being its is like the Prototype 1 military with Mercer, saying Mercer isn't a he, it's an it. Also, may I use email to give more SCP info? Yes, I believe that Prototype military was right in their assessment. Good for them. And just this once. Just this once. Let's not flood the email box, please. Synthetic, thank you for your first donation of today's stream. Very cool Unis Honest profile picture. And make sure to grab yourself some steamed artichokes on your way past the commissary. Hello, Dr. Sherman. It's me, the guy that turned into a horse. Good news. Medic managed to turn me back. Bad news now, everyone at Med Bay keeps singing about Steve's lava chicken. Please send help. How did you get them to do that? Why are they doing that? Will they stop if you leave the facility? I'm scared. Christopher, thank you for donating again. It turned them into deer. One of them said it looks like a Greek goddess Artemis. The guard who said that is now a species of giant rabbit. Wow. Well, we better get better shielding. We better get some riot shields to defend our team from the arrows. And yeah, we cannot have a bunch of our security forces turned into animals. Get that thing into containment immediately. At this point, I'm almost thinking about authorizing lethal force. I hate destroying anomalies, but we could lose a little more security forces before we switch to lethal force. Just knock it out, man. Knock it out. Use what we do for the other Greek gods in containment, because we have Apollo and Aphrodite. So use what we use to contain them on it. EXE, what's my favorite SCP? I will tell you my favorite SCPs in approximately 30 minutes, because we are 30 minutes from the end of stream, and I always tell you my favorite SCPs at the end of stream. So, we're almost there. I like your streams, Magic Dr. Man. Well, welcome, Thank you. You're quite welcome, Warden of the Panopticon. And Random Phantom, I just told you how long the stream's going on for. Congratulations. Who gave you permission to authorize lethal force, Dr. Sherman? Administrator. I am the site director of this site. It is up to me if we have lost too many security forces and we need to destroy the anomaly. Now, I'm not going to do that lightly. You know me. You know I prefer containment and research. I'm not going to authorize lethal force until we absolutely have to. But it's on the table for a reason. We need to make sure that we don't lose too many resources for too little gain. I mean, we do have other Greek gods in containment, so what's losing one at the end of the day, after all? Has the UIU ever collaborated with the Chaos Insurgency? I've never heard of them doing so, and they have very different goals. The Chaos Insurgency wants to screw us in particular, while the UIU has more of a containment focus like we do. So I don't think they would very much work together. The UIU isn't raiding Foundation sites. Mark. Hey, Dr. Sherman. What would happen if a person were to look at SCP-096, then go into SCP-106's pocket dimension before 096 goes into rage mode? So, it's going to go into rage mode whether or not you're still in the universe. So that's not stopping it from raging. And what's going to happen is 096 is going to follow you directly into that portal into the pocket dimension. Now, let's say for the sake of argument that it misses the bus, the portal closes, it can't get to you. It's going to stay mad and trying to find another portal until it can get to you. And so it's going to be looking for 106's portals to get to you. And of course, while you're in the portal, you are being dissolved by acid. So it's not like you can hide out there forever. And so once you come out, you're going to get got. Once another portal opens, you're going to get got. At the end of the day, if you look at 096, you're going to get got. Other dimension or not. Synthetic, thank you for donating again. Okay, gathered more intel. Apparently, if someone eats a square fried chicken, they start singing the song. Please send a mobile task force to Medbay 13. All right, I will send... we don't need a mobile task force for that. We just need medical from another wing of the site to report to cure the medical that's having problems. Meanwhile, I'll put out a site-wide order to not eat any cubic chickens. Zerdrin, good to see you in the chat. Thank you for being a member, as well as Sally. Good to see you in chat. Thank you for being a member. Dr. Sherman, I'm lost on site. Help. Are you lost on site 42? Are you stuck in a hallway? Or are you lost on the SkipNet database like the website? What kind of lost are you? Is this loss? Want to see this illegal Jenga move I learned? It's called Jaunty Jenga. Don't you dare, Zerdrin. Do not start that again. You saw what happened earlier today. Ay, caramba. You're lost in Site 42. Okay, Sally, stay put. I will have security look in the camera feed and find you. Just stay put. Don't touch anything. Random fandom. May I join the annoyed and asexual club? Also, did the GOC or the CCC destroy that chair? Well, anyone can be annoyed and asexual. And hashtag annoyed in asexual is open to anyone who is both annoyed and asexual. That's fine. You can join that club any way you want to do it. Meanwhile, I know for a fact the GOC destroyed that chair, but I do not know what the CCC is. So you've got me there. What is the CCC? Are you talking about the Center for Chaos Containment from the Henry Stickmin universe? Honestly, Chaos Containment sounds great to me. It sounds like they'd be a very friendly to the Foundation kind of job. Neutralize further escalation of chaos and terminate them, usually adding fuel to the fire for it to die down faster with their arsenal of unusual armament. Hey, I kind of like the sound of these guys. Are they competent? That's the big deal. Anyways. Christopher, thank you for donating again. Okay, I was able to distract it long enough for it to be captured. Now I'm going to go get a double vanilla milkshake. Perfect. Perfect. Dr. Sherman, if I knew about an anomaly that the Foundation didn't know about, what would I do with that information? Out of RP, what's the best place to post a custom SCP? Well, I would assume the best place is on the actual SCP Wiki. Because if you manage to get your SCP completed, critted, and posted on the SCP Wiki proper, then it becomes a canon SCP. I mean, that's the dream, right? I mean, of course, that is very difficult. And when you're doing something like an SCP OC, you don't normally need to go the full 9 miles there and make yourself canon to the SCP Wiki like that. I mean, consider Dr. Sherman. Dr. Sherman shows up in multiple articles, but not as the main subject of an article or a story. Dr. Sherman is just mentioned here and there in different SCPs I wrote, or SCPs other people wrote me into because they appreciated me and just stuck me in there for funsies. And so with that, that's one way to get your character canonized, so to speak. And it's a lot easier than writing an article about them, which has much higher standards for completion and success. But if you want an anomaly that isn't like an OC or something, yeah, I say do the work and try and write it for the SCP Wiki, because then you can become an official SCP author. And that title, ooh, doesn't that mean so much? Completely useful and doesn't make anyone's lives weird. I wrote Sherman into an article just to shave his head. Wait, my beautiful hair is gone? What article is this, desk? I don't remember this happening. Joseph Obergfeld, do you have a podcast, you ask? Yes, if you go onto the Site 42 YouTube channel, you can see a playlist called The Sherm's Great Skip Dictations. It is 500 plus readings of SCP documents. You can also get most of that on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I just haven't updated that in a while. So I would have to go back and upload the backlog for Spotify. It's been a really busy and tough year, so I need to do some catch up on that end. And some mustard. Christopher. I didn't like your last donation, so thank you for it again. Jet, thank you for your first donation of today's stream, I believe. I answered you earlier, but I think this is your first donation. And if so, well then, make sure to grab yourself some delicious fried trout on your way past the commissary. Got the skeleton baby fight sent over from Sunday. Oh, yes. Oh, man, I'm going to get some popcorn for that baby fight. That's for sure. After I get my beerito from the commissary. Hello, Carman Gaming and Golden Freddy, just for saying hi. Clockwork Arts, non-related, but your hair is fire. Thank you. My stylist will very much appreciate the kind words. Can a fictional character become a registered SCP under any circumstance, or is it impossible? So 2 ways to say this, Omen. The first one is if the fictional character from another fandom is from another fandom that already exists, it cannot become an SCP. It mostly cannot become an SCP due to the SCP being a Creative Commons community and other fandoms usually being copyrighted in a way that's not Creative Commons. So there are exceptions. For instance, there is an SCP tale that is just the entirety of the book The Great Gatsby, because that is public domain. And so it was absorbed into the Foundation verse by someone who put it there. Also, we just had a public domain competition, and a lot of public domain entities were put into the Foundation. You should look at the public domain contest. It was pretty good. And so that's some ways that entities can become SCPs even if they pre-exist. But if something is copyrighted and not allowed to be used like that, it can't be an SCP. And that's when we say it's anomalous, but not an SCP. Now, the other way to answer your question is that there are, in fact, fictional characters as SCPs, as in SCPs that are fictional to us who are also fictional. It's a lower layer of fictionality. Fred is a great example of an SCP that is a fictional character in universe. George the Chinchilla is another fictional character that is an SCP. So you could count it that way as well. I've done it, Doctor. Many thanks. Thank you, Rosie, for donating again. And I did see your email message pop up, so I will probably peek at that later on. I'm going to be a little tired after this stream, I tell you what. Do you know the Vulgan YouTube channel? Yes, Mr. Jubilant Jam. In fact, Vulgan and I are old buddies, old pals. We've talked much in the past. We've done guest spots on each other's channels. Both of us are way too busy nowadays to really collaborate very often. We just kind of keep up with our own stuff. But hopefully, as we both get bigger and better fandoms and fundings, we will be able to take some time to ourselves and hang out, not in a work setting, as well as make some bigger collaborative works and do that with other SCP creators. So, fingers crossed. Can anomalies become staff? Because lots of staff are anomalous, but I often hear that an SCP cannot become employed by the Foundation. Charlie, it's rare. It is rare for an anomaly to go from containment to staff. And so I wouldn't expect it very often. More often than not, what ends up happening is staff somehow become anomalous. That happens a lot more often. And then, depending on their loyalty to the Foundation and or disciplinary records, sometimes an anomaly can be brought into the fold as a Foundation staff member. It's not common, but it does exist. Brandon, hey, Dr. Sherman, how's your foot doing? Honestly, thank you for asking. It's been doing slightly better. Only just slightly. I can still only walk for about 5 to 10 minutes a day. And I've got an MRI on May 27th to hopefully figure out what we can do to make that heal better. Achilles tendons do just take forever, though, so it's pretty rough. What is the saddest SCP you know of? Well, Abby, normally people say 1762 because obviously there were dragons is a pretty central mean SCP, sad ones. SCP-3080 is pretty funny for a while and then turns out sad. So that is 3080, the power of love is a good one to bring up. And are there any other ones I can think of? Do, 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 do. 3883 is pretty sad if you think about it. I mean, would you want to be a godlike Cthulhu entity trapped in a bad dragon dildo? I wouldn't. So I think 3883 is pretty sad from a point of view. It looks funny on its surface, but it's not a happy time. Unscrupulous Treasurer. Hello, hello. Thank you for being a member and welcome to the chat. Oh, my browser needs to reload. Give me one moment. Good evening, doctor. Hope the legs gets better. Well, Jared Sandwich, thank you for your first donation of the day. Grab yourself a cup of tea on your way past the commissary, and thank you for recovers as well. I would like to get back to dancing in the gym and walking at a normal pace for a normal duration of time. I see some of you are confused about SCP-3883, which is aptly titled, Dildos Have Dreams Too. I'm not kidding. It's a canon SCP. You can check it out for yourself. It's pretty good. Christopher, thank you for donating again. I got 999 a lot of rock candy. Why would you do that? I'm bouncing off the walls again. Oh, I'm acting like a fool again. Oh, frickin' slime is on the walls now. What a hassle. Dr. Sherman, how many potatoes do I have to generate for you to paint your nails? You know, I've never painted my nails before. It's not that I'm against it. I enjoy, you know, flair and peacocking. I've got all my flair and such. But, I don't know. The fingernails have never appealed to me as a fashion choice. But, I don't know. Maybe one day. Never say never. Help, my face is being bit off by the floating hand spider. Well, maybe you should have brought a rock with you, huh? Do you enjoy drinking tea? Julia, yes, I am a big fan of tea. Of many, many varieties. Usually I enjoy it without sweetener, because I just enjoy the taste of the tea. There are some teas that do require a tiny bit of sugar to unlock their flavor. So I'm not religious about no sweetener, but I'm not a sugar person most of the time. I like bitters and sours more. Hey, Dr. Sherman, last question for the night. What happens if you somehow manage to completely wipe 096's memories and put it in front of a mirror? Well, researcher Mark, what I believe happens is not going to be very much, because we don't know that 096 is sentient or sapient in the manner that we know of anyways. So it instinctually knows what its face looks like, and amnestic isn't going to get rid of that. It's like trying to erase muscle memory. You can erase how you got the muscle memory, but the muscle memory stays born identity style. So I don't think that's going to very much help. I remember when Reggie gave 999 soda and an MP5. Now that's terrifying. Yeah, that was a problem day for sure. Freaking Reggie. Do you have dark SCPs? I don't know what that means. What do you mean dark? That doesn't really mean anything. Derek, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a bowl of M&Ms minus the green ones on your way past the commissary. Is it time for the daily fights between Keter entities? Is there anything that can stop SCP-001 when day breaks? Can any god withstand the mad sun? So, I don't know if anything organic that withstands when day breaks. And we can't really stop it. It's the frickin' sun. So, no, we don't really have a good stoppage there. And, don't talk about SCP Fight Club. We're trying to raise funds through the gambling, and you're ruining it by telling everyone. I'm 29 and have balding hair. How do I manage that? Well, Sajid, a lot of people start going bald or gray in their mid-20s. I mean, I definitely started going gray, not just the coloring, but I started going gray around 25 on the edges there. Meanwhile, I have some friends who, God, they were starting to bald around 21 even. So that's just the heart of the cards there. You got to rock it with confidence. Wear it proudly, and no one can make fun of you for it. So maybe shave your head, maybe get a cool pattern with what you can, but wear it like you mean it. You'll do better. Christopher, thank you for donating again. 999 wants more rock candy. Absolutely not! No more rock candy. Jiminy sakes alive. A heads up to everyone, you have about 10 minutes before stream ends. We are in the last 10 minutes. So questions and donations, you are now 10 minutes away. You have shoulder-length hair, so you just cut it short? Shoulder-length hair and balding. No, you gotta look up some dope-ass samurai-style do's. You could get very interesting with that when it comes to like long hair, but also with a balding situation. You can style that. My suggestion is you go get a good stylist, though. One problem men have is we don't care about enough about our appearance. And then we wonder why we don't have any friends and people who like us and romantic partners. It's because we're lazy and we don't care about what we look like and we don't take care of ourselves. Getting the cheapest possible haircut does not a style make. You got to go find a good salon where they know their stuff and they treat their hairdoing as an art. That's how you get good waves and good styles. And so you show up to a decent stylist and say, hey, I want something that goes with these two contrasting hair situations I have. You're probably going to get a dope-ass haircut, my friend. You have the power to rock this. You just got to go to the right artist to make this happen. Hell yeah, brother. Random Dud, thank you for subscribing to Site 42. Welcome to staff. Dark Red, have a good night, Dr. Sherman. You too. Almost made it to the end of the stream, I guess. Does someone specifically want to fraternize with the Plague Doctor? Someone else asked. Oh my jeez. So the Plague Doctor is very high up on the thirst inducing anomalies chart. It is very frustrating, especially because due to its current obsession with the gender switching stone, it continues to be thirsted over by people of both persuasions, of all persuasions. And so you end up in a situation where basically, listen, all I'm telling you is that due to our budgetary shortfalls, thanks to the O5s cutting our budget and Dr. Moon Moon stealing a quarter of our anomalies, which, remember, we get paid for research. So when we don't have anomalies, we're not getting paid. One of my ideas for merchandise that we can sell to improve the budget is 049 body pillows. It's going to go gangbusters, I tell you. It's going to be huge. And of course, it won't reveal the Foundation to the public because we'll just say it's a plague doctor from the 1800s. That's way too recent. It's a plague doctor from back in the day. It's not an anomalous plague doctor. No, it's just a regular plague doctor. You thirsty, thirsty weirdos. Rosie, thank you for donating again. How would the Foundation contain Alex Mercer from the Prototype series? Forever's Mercer can consume biomass, gaining power from it, and survived a nuke. Yeah, that's one of those big ones. They were not able to contain it in Prototype very well. I never played the games, therefore I do not know any other strengths or weaknesses. Alex Mercer, Prototype, weaknesses. Identified by viral detectors, so it can't hide, so we can at least find it that way. So it can't, we can use viral detectors to catch it, so it's not sneaking around. An anti-black light chemical mixture that was deployed throughout the city in stages. Blood toxin is poisonous to Mercer and the infected, inducing necrosis in any tissue containing the virus. Okay. And they can't do water. Therefore, we would have to put them in a moated aquatic cell. Interesting. So basically, we could contain it in a similar cell to SCP-457, the Flaming Man. That would work. I like that. Let's put it in a 457 cell. They can fight it out. God Sinner, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a pint of ale on your way past the commissary. Do you have any tips for shaving until I get access to the gender switching stone from Caracal? P.S. Going to take Lizard out for a walk and a head pat. Well, I'm assuming it's one of the nicer lizards and not the big lizard, because that would not be approved. Meanwhile, I would suggest... I mean, I'm not really the person to ask. I am terrible at shaving. I get ingrowns all the time. I still need to learn that myself. So I would find a nice shaving store or a barber who could give you some tips. There's probably a YouTube channel for barbers that will help you. Fandom Theorist, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a jelly roll on your way past the commissary. Could SCP-682 be tamed? Well, no. Clearly not. It hasn't happened yet. It will not. Does anyone realize that Dr. Sherman is more of an SCP himself? He broke the fourth wall and appears everywhere. Scared in SCP. Sean, you're talking silly talk. Silly talk. I'm not anomalous at all. I have no anomalous abilities that no one is ever talking about or theorizing about. There's nothing anomalous about me or my pen at all. Do you have a good SCP that will cause mild paranoia? That's what I meant with dark. Still annoying and persistent. Mild paranoia. What does dark have to do with mild paranoia? Now I'm even more confused. But yeah, we have a couple SCPs that are paranoia-inducing. The entity mass hysteria is one of them. SCP... 4266, 2076, and 3369 all give some mass hysteria symptoms. 1268 is literally titled mass hysteria, so that's another one. And, so yeah, there's a bunch of them that make you paranoid. I know the, Book of Diseases makes you paranoid as well. Clockwork Arts and Rudy, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. We're in the last 3 minutes, people. Rosie, thank you for donating again. SCP-68, just got my 682 pet. He's a very good boy doctor. I'll attempt to tame 682, which shouldn't be too difficult. I will ensure it is done. Your universe must have a very different SCP-682 than the one we have. Because that's not possible with our SCP-682. Unknown, showing up right at the end of the stream with a report about the baby fight from yesterday. Fabulous. Put it on my desk. Aaron, if I had to pick between Coke or Pepsi, I would pick Dr. Pepper. God Sinner, thank you for donating again. Got 682 and 999 going to borrow a doctor next. Anything else I should know for head pats? Y'all are really confusing me with all of this friendly 682 talk. I'm wondering if y'all just aren't right in the head. You seem to have similar mimetic diseases infecting you. Christopher, thank you for donating again. Alex Mercer can make himself look like his victims. Alex Mercer can make itself look like its victims. Get your pronouns right. And so there are detectors that can detect the virus, the prototype anomaly. So just use the scanners. It's not like Amogus. Actually, I think the Amogus have scanners too, now that I think about it. I don't know, I've never played. What would be the Foundation's relationship with the Federation from Star Trek? I think either that the Foundation and Federation would be rival or they would become one thing. So, essentially, by the time we have a Space Force or a Federation of Starfleet in this case, the question only becomes, is it the military that did it or is it us that did it? If the military did it, we would still be rivals. But if the Foundation was the Space Force, well then that's our job. Sally, thank you for what I think is your first donation. Second donation to today's stream, maybe. First donation to today's stream. So make sure to grab yourself a plate of beef jerky on your way past the commissary. I'm pretty sure you're an SCP, Dr. Sherman. No, I'm not. Why would you say that? No, I'm not. No, I'm not. No. Not anomalous at all. Not a bit. Not even a little. All right, we have hit the end of stream, everybody. And you know what that means. That means that we are going to list my favorite SCPs. Now, of course, these are my favorite SCPs, not the ones that I wrote, because that would be cheating. Obviously, I love my own SCPs. But you can read the SCPs I wrote at The Sherm's Site 42 and SCP author page, which is on the SCP Wiki. The SCPs I wrote, as well as the ones I've contributed to in other ways. Now, while you're there, there's some support links. You can become a Site 42 patron and a channel member, which at various tiers get you early access. Being a member on the YouTube channel also gives you the emojis and the green name so I see you better in chat. So there's multiple benefits to either or. You could also do both. Why not? Meanwhile, you could also do a one-time donation at Ko-Fi. You can buy some Site 42 merch. Whatever you do to support Site 42, even if it's just liking, sharing, and subscribing to our channels, we appreciate it greatly. Now, without further ado, my favorite SCPs in no particular order are SCP-3999, SCP-3043, SCP-008-J, SCP-Spooky-J, SCP-5031, SCP-5175, SCP-5320, and with a content warning, SCP-8980. That one's a doozy. One more time, too, through 3999, 3043, 008-J, Spooky-J, 5031, 5175, 5320, and 8980. Big content warning on the last one. This has been another Dr. Sherman Office Hours, a subsidiary of the anomalous broadcasts from Site 42. I have been Dr. Theron Sherman, with my moderator, the Desk of Alto Clef. I hope you had fun. I hope you learned something. Be safe, be well, and as always, secure, contain, and protect. I'll see you in the next video. Off the Florida Keys, there's a place called Kokomo. That's where you wanna go to get away from it all. Bodies in the sand, tropical drink melting in your hand. We'll be falling in love to the rhythm of a steel drum band. Way down in Kokomo, Aruba, Jamaica. Ooh, I wanna take you to Bermuda, Bahama. Come on, pretty mama. Key Largo, Montego. Baby, why don't we go down to Kokomo? We'll get there fast and then we'll take it slow. That's where we wanna go, way down in Kokomo.